just totally fascinated about how this kind of language. I love the way you talk about language. I mean, it's interesting as well, isn't it? Because a lot of mathematicians are good at languages or are good at creativity because it all connects together. The kind of idea it's a language and it's creative and all those kind of
Yeah.
things. So, what was the thing that really caused you the most difficulty when you were writing the book? Was it that getting that language across to people like myself who aren't sort of well versed in it, or what was the one thing that really sort of was the big challenge?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge I faced while writing was probably self-doubt. Um, and in some ways I had the advantage that I hadn't written before. I think a lot of writers I know have been doing it for a long time, which gives them incredible skills that, I was way behind on. But it also leaves them with like a lot of expectation where they think, I'm a good writer. This first page of my writing is meant to reflect like sort of Shakespearean levels of talent. And I just knew my stuff was going to be pretty average, and I just wrote the first draft and kind of got there. But I think after I did a draft sort of and a half, I started thinking, okay, I got a little bit ahead of myself. This is sick. I sent it off to my mate to read. I said, let's meet up for a beer and just chat through, get your feedback. And on my way to go see him, I just opened it up, literally in like mid transit, and I started reading it. And I got to the third paragraph, and I was like, this is rubbish. I just kind of went from here, to there in terms of how good I thought it was. But then I met with him, and he said, it's actually like there's a lot of promise here. The ending's rubbish. I changed that. But the more important thing he said was just that, look, he said, look, Femi, the only thing that matters actually is how you feel about the book. In the sense that if you picked the upper world off of the side of the pavement and read it, would you say this book is sick? Like, if you're being really honest with yourself, would you think it was sick? If the answer to that is yes, then it probably means there's a lot of other people who agree with you, and it'll do well. And even if they don't agree with you, at least you've done something sick, and you can be proud of that. And so that kind of freed me up from that self-doubt, and it also gave me a bar for which to judge things, which is just like my most honest self. Um, but yeah, I think that's kind of probably the biggest one. I'm still struggling with it though. Self doubt is something that you kind of have to manage um, all the time as a writer. So
And
yeah.
it's interesting, isn't it? Because writing a book like that must be very personal as well. So the self doubt comes back because you've poured so much into it, I suppose, and then, you need those people around you, I guess, to be honest and give you feedback so you can improve as well. So it sounds like you had a great network around you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that process of getting feedback is something that you have to be. It takes a bit of thought